Hello everyone, welcome back to this showcase on Warframe. Now this episode was a bit delayed. People are expecting it a little bit earlier, well, some of my buddies, but anyway, it's finally here. This Sayrn showcase. Now, I used to be a big Serum player, back before they changed her control scheme. Back when she had more health and more armor. But no matter, she's still good. In fact, she's more powerful than she used to be. Just a lot more difficult to use than she used to win. Once upon a time it was just a one button to win, but no longer the case. Alright, the stats of Sayrn are as follows. Health is 125, which is plenty. Shields are at 100, the average. Armor is 175, which is lots. Power is 150, so she has lots of adult energy to use. And her sprint speed is at 0.95, at just a hair below the average. She comes already built in with a Naramond and a Vazarin polarity. And her aura slot is wired to Vazarin. So there we have it. So we have actually quite a bit of a tank build, but in the past she was a bigger tank. The developer since scaled her back a little bit. But where she lost her armor, she made up in firepower though. But there's other ways she can make up for her shortcomings with the loss of armor. There's a couple ways. Through use of augments and various other clever means, because she can combine her powers to make her abilities more powerful. Let's get right into that. So, to use her abilities, the first one, Spore. When enemies die and they're adjacent to other enemies, it will be infectious and spread, so long as there's always an enemy to cause a chain. Very helpful. Second ability, the Molt, is similar to Loki's Decoy, however, this one is a more physical entity, and it will expire, visually, as time passes by. But structurally, it is the same move, although much more physically appealing, although I don't see how it really works. Loki's Decoy, it doesn't really get holes in it. You think the enemy would kind of clue in after a while. The third move, Toxic Lash, turns your melee weapon and adds poison damage to it, regardless of what element's on it. So I took a Skana that's level 0 and no mods. These are level 10 enemies. And I can cut through them pretty darn easily with the poison damage, since Greenair are very weak to poison. Very, very weak. So yes, tank takes any weapon and adds poison damage. This can be already on top of the elements you already have. Anyhow, moving on to the final ability is Miasma. It's been toned down initially, but that's what everyone thinks. You just press the button once and it releases viral damage around. An enemy that's not killed gets your health reduced. But let's get on to the real reason you're here. Serum Prime. She is not too hard to acquire, somewhere in the average difficulty. That's not too hard, not too easy. But she has more armor and more power. Let's look at it in greater depth. So, her health, as we saw, is 125, the same as the previous version. Same thing goes for shield at 100. Her armor's been upgraded to 225. It's what Sayrn originally had, I believe, initially before her nerf or alterations. Power though has been increased to 200. She has a lot of energy to give. Her sprint speed's now the average 1.0. Pretty much as fast as Excalibur. Now her polarity's the added one. You have the Naramond, a Vazarin, and a Madarai. And the aura is still a Vazarin. So there you go, already there's a lot of polarities already existing. One's to supplement energy, damage, and shields, if you so wish to have them. So, is Serum Prime truly worth it though? Well, initially the stats say yes. Regardless, you got 50 more energy. That's a lot. And the armor is definitely helpful. It makes that steel fiber all the more useful. But if you don't want to use steel fiber, there are alternatives to keep yourself alive. But anyhow, let's get on to the ultimate build. So yes, here it is, my ultimate build. Now, I am not the best Serum player, but I believe this to be the best balance for me. For you, I have no clue. Anyway, I had to put 2 formas into Sayrn, and plus the reactor. Now, I didn't change the aura, so I kept Rejuvenation on. You can change it to whatever you wish. I got the Vitality Redirection. You probably definitely want a Vitality on there. I also put the Steel Fiber, because you get a lot more armor out of it. Now, I got my Prime Flow, it's maxed out on there. Also got Streamline, and just to keep down the cost of my abilities, it's important. Got Intensify and Transit Fortitude to buff up the damage. And luckily, you don't need too much duration. It's one you can just butcher slightly. Not too much, just slightly. And to continue bringing up power, I got the Power Drift on. Though I'm kind of swinging between that and other abilities, but Power Drift seemed like just to get that little extra oomph out of it. Now, the other thing I have is the Augment for Regenerative Molt. What that does, if you don't know, it changes your Molt. It acts the same, it performs the same, but when it's active, it heals you 50 health per second. That is a lot. Mind you, this is an older mod, it's well before the operator abilities. But still, it only works just for Sayrn and the player who uses it. So yes, that's a quick way to save yourself. If the combat doesn't get too hot, bring up your Molt and run. And when you're running, you're healed. You'll be back in the fight in no time. But yes. There's better ways to build it, there's different ways to build it. Mine's a balance between efficiency and power strength. I didn't touch range, because you'll see probably don't need it. Anyhow, let's begin the test. Now, I'll be only fighting Grineer at most of them at level 50, because they're most susceptible to poison. Now, first I'll be using Spore, and Spore has a lot of different applications. For instance, if you do pop it yourself, it'll cause viral damage, guaranteed. This will harm the enemy greatly. And of course, as usual, spread to other enemies. But there's other things you could do with it, such as if you were to bring up your Molt, and then put spores on that and pop them, it will dramatically increase the range for these things. Now, some people augment just this move alone, and just use that, which is still plenty good. But I'm going to go through every ability. So Spore is also one-handed, and you can use it easily while firing your gun or reloading. So it's also very handy for, keeping the enemy nice and weakened by the time you get your fresh clip in your gun. So it's one of the useful versatile moves that's pretty simple in nature. Now, going on, again I'll be going with the Grineer. Where are they? They are. Just taking 5 of them at level 50. Now, the Molt. The Molt's a similar premise, but I'll explain more. It will actually cause damage if it is fully destroyed. And it will cause poison damage in a fixed range. But Molt has more than one application. When you use spores on it, and then miasma, the miasma gets double damage. So yes, I'll be testing this later on. But you can see it exploded and killed, and there's no enemies all around anymore. Or at least not in front of it, because they all died from that explosion from the Molt. So you can run from battle and still kill a lot of enemies. So you get the idea of Sayrn's, usefulness. She just pretty much removes enemies and forces away from you. But now I'm going to show the regenerative Molt. You can see I'm badly hurt, but I turn on my regenerative Molt, and you can see my health just return almost instantly. Just very quickly, just instantaneously there. And that's an easy max upgrade. So let's talk about Toxic Lash next. Enemies are still the same level. Because I have my basic knife, it's moderately effective, but now I put poison on it, it's now 2 hits. Pretty much every enemy I hit is 2 hits kill. Pretty simple in nature. This additional information is, although it's effective, you can still poison enemies and use miasma for double damage, because that's how miasma works. Just need to poison for that double damage. It doesn't have to be just Molt. Now, let's go against these. I'm putting these guys to a very specific level, at level 45, because I'm going to show you it does not kill them at level 45. It comes to the very close marker. They just barely survive. Let's try something a little different. We'll jack them up beyond 50. All the way to level 70. Let's do the triple combo. So first, Molt, Spores, and then Miasma. And they don't survive. There's the firepower right there. Now, I don't score Warframes. I know I score weapons, but the Warframes, they're inherently very different from each other. Sure, there are bad ones, but they all have their use. But anyway, I will still go over the pros and cons of each of them. The pros for Sayrn: she has plenty of armor. She has the ability to heal herself. Her damage output is extremely high. And pretty much very easy crowd control and poison. And with viral damage going everywhere, enemies get very weak very quickly. The cons of Sayrn: to maximize the use of her abilities, you have to use all of her abilities. So that means high energy, cost high energy amount to produce very effective results. It is not compatible with every controller type, as it's no longer compatible with my controller type. Her initial sprint speed of the plain version is below average. That is irritating when you can't keep up with everyone via sprint. And I think that pretty much does it for cons. She's a very powerful Warframe, but she asks a lot of her players to be very mindful of her abilities. Not everyone is mindful of their abilities. I am not a very ability-heavy user. But I still recognize her potential and firepower. For those who want to know, yes, I am using the alternative skin. Why? Because I bought it. Anyhow, Sayrn is more of the intellectual player, one who's very comfortable with Warframe. You probably won't see very many new players use her, and probably not so many intermediate players either. More of the veterans. And those veterans who do use her are a force to be reckoned with. But she does ask a lot out of the person using her. So she's never going to be a popular choice because of this. Because there's other Warframes that are simpler to use. But oh well. I still like Sayrn. And always will. That's my opinion. That's been Showcase for today. I thank everyone here for watching, and see you guys next time. Take care out there. Want to see a particular weapon here on Showcase? Leave a comment down below. It'd be next weapon I choose. But hey, before you go, keep in mind that Durandal here has a community page on PS4. Feel free to join if you have any questions or you just want to chat. I'd like to thank you again for watching, and I'd like to say take care of everyone out there.